evidence of any infrastructure. Breadcrumbs. He looked a little at the little mouse eating away and then wondered at the life of these inhabitants. Where was their supply chain? How did they eat? Why were trolls just sitting around in jail cells waiting to attack us? And did they attack everyone that walked in? The same could be said of that strange ceremony with weird gargoyle harpies. Were they just sitting around all day waiting for us or anyone to come in? So much Paul did not understand about this place, which was the foundation for his concern that perhaps reality was being manipulated. His gaze fell back upon the little mouse who had devoured all the bread, not one single breadcrumb remaining, and thought about how that could be interpreted. Then he considered this skull idol that the team is to destroy. Why not just go to the nearest volcano and throw it in? Paul had heard this worked with other evil artifacts, and we even have a halfling that could carry it. Sure, maybe it wouldn't destroy it, but who could recover it there? He waited for Meta to interject, but thankfully there was no response, at least none at this time. He wondered now, had the group gotten any closer to a plan? Paul had to admit that in the absence of any evidence, maybe the kill them all and let the gods sort them out strategy seemed the best. He then looked over at the new cleric in the party and wondered so many things. How did they get the warded door open that most of them could not even approach? Why did they open it? It holds an ancient evil, then isn't it an act of evil to open it? And most intriguing, how did they put the genie back in the bottle, so to speak? Did they know anything of their lost companion, the rabbit? Was he truly dead or just charmed? And did he follow the creature back into the vault? Why was the creature in prison to begin with? Some thought that the temple inhabitants are trying to free this creature. Why did they not respond in force when it was freed? Where was there any evidence of this plan to release the creature? Surely these cultists would need research documents. And are they working together? Was there any evidence? Where were the breadcrumbs? Paul's head proceeded to throb. Perhaps it was simply time to return back to the quiet life of a hermit. He looked over at the group, wondering if they were any closer to unraveling this mess, and then gazed at the halfling. Perhaps she had the best plan. Let's just go in and rob them all blind and leave. It certainly took the confusion out of the situation. Paul looked back to the mouse, but saw that he had already left. Even the wise little mouse could not survive without any breadcrumbs. So, criticism welcome.
So are there tears rolling down my face?
Paul needs a heads up.
That was absolutely awesome.
Yeah. So, anyhow, hopefully that kind of helps. That's where
It's
Paul's perspective is. This is why he keeps asking these weird questions.
mm-hmm. Right. So, what are the priorities of the group?
Kill them all, let karma sort it out?
Well, speaking
But,
of
you know,
that, like I, I
I will
thought that
defer.
I thought that the mouse was going to get stomped on right at the beginning and then cut the whole thing short.
I will defer to wiser heads in the party, though.
I don't know how we figure out what to do without, like I said, some breadcrumbs.
Well,
Either we're missing them or they're not there. And I would point at the dungeon about that. I remember this dungeon didn't have the greatest details written into it, but
well,
you know,
the dungeon itself, again, so here's your meta. The dungeon itself did have details. Like there's a lot of stuff there. And
I
there are lots of ways to gather information. What didn't originally, which the OAR reboot, the 5E update to this thing by Goodman Games, like what they did was they added all the detail to the places that didn't have it, which mainly included the elemental nodes. And even those didn't get as much detail as the dungeons got. But the details in the dungeon, like it it is.
well, none of the people we've taken prisoner have been particularly informative.
No doubt. Like
We
and Like, who have you taken prisoner? And you haven't really taken anybody prisoner. You have freed a lot of prisoners.
So I was going to suggest we hunt down that anti-paladin and mage, and then either charm or beat the truth out of them.
Charm and eat the truth out of them. I like this.
I was also going to say is when we last came, they were talking about maybe making a provisioning run to one of the local cities. If we could get our hands on a portable hull, we can take that mirror of imprisonment or whatever the hell it is called along with us and use that to store prisoners between questioning and then delivering to justice, which would make our life a hell of a lot easier.
That is a fantastic idea, and we definitely have the wherewithal to buy one if one can be found.
I don't want to put that much in my prison hole.
Say again?
Just a small halfling.
Do we make a? So I mean, I'm all keen for going back. My basic plan at this point would be use scrying spells and that crystal ball and see if we can track down the wizard and the anti-paladin. And they seem pretty senior here. We basically beat some answers out of them, or charm them, or zone of truth, or whatever the hell.
So my concern is if they are running, as in running to get the hell out of everywhere and don't stop running, could be a tough chase. And on the other hand, I suspect, and this could actually contribute to your argument, they're going to come back. If they're going to come back at all, they're going to, they'll come back and we'll see them soon enough. Unfortunately, to your point, they could be really reinforced at that point. So how we address those issues is a little like, did we decide that we're going to only search so far before we throw in the towel? Do we have a means potentially to track them?
Yes, we do. That means the crystal ball. Um, I am at least somewhat familiar with both of them, so I can make the attempt to scry. Nobody discussed we're only going to follow them so far. That didn't come up. Um, I think we got as far as saying let's try and find them and see what we can squeeze out of them. I for one would be happy to stand and watch as the fighter types in the party squeeze them until their hair begins to bleed. Lizard men don't have hair. That would be something that would amuse me greatly.
And
Well,
we could cast the zone of truth and see if that helps interrogate them.
Yep.
charm spells or whatever else. And I think like last game was all a whole lot of much needed housekeeping and catching up and whatever on this and that. How much time? And I think and the wizard needed time to study his books, etc., etc., etc. How much time has passed between when we left? It was going to be at least a week between when we left and potentially going back. Do we take a little bit more time and go looking for, more magical supplies like a portable hole? So I guess the question to the DM is, or the wizard, if you put some thought into it, how long did you figure you needed for your learning spells and getting smarter shtick?
Getting smarter took a week. That was the big thing. After that, I'm pretty much okay. None of the scrolls that I have desperately need to be copied into my book at this time. Let me just double check that.
Certainly couldn't hurt to have them though. So do we make a
Okay, there are some that do.
run to local city and try and stock up on magical supplies, or do we just dive back? And I mean, the main reason I'm talking about magical supplies is, like I said, a portable hole would give us the ability to bring that mirror along, which would give us the ability to uh, take prisoners without the moral. I mean, half the reason we haven't been taking prisoners is then we got to deal with the bleeding heart, goody two shoes.
We have no way to retain them.
No,
So
we
our
can.
only remedy is let them go or kill them.
Yeah, but if we can take that mirror of imprisonment along with us, then we have a nice convenient way of doing that.
Yeah, and maybe we make one of them hold the skull.
Hey, ignore me.
That might not be a
I'm
good.
just gonna mute in the corner and die and listen.
Mark,
Hey,
is there any possibility that you can post that story that you wrote? Because that was hilarious and Tim missed the whole thing.
Yeah. Please cut and paste that entire chat.
Wow. Okay. I was just chatting to Sarah. I was terrified to relate this. I'm glad you guys liked it.
Liked it. Dude, that was gold.
Excellent.
Yes, that
Yeah,
was so
excellent.
good.
Absolutely excellent.
And Tim, feel better. Drink lots of soup, lots of tea. I hope you've got a hot toddy.
Does that work? I just
Hot
copy
toddies?
pasted it straight from Word.
Oh, I don't know about that, but hot toddies work miracles.
oh, you can download the entire message.
Yep. Yeah. He did it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I've got it. That works fine.
So, presuming that Mr. Wizard's studying spells over a span of time, hypothetically, he should be able to start work on the scrying in parallel. That might give us an indication of how we want to proceed further.
Yeah, let's see if we can spot him with scrying. That seems like a really reasonable first step.
Vern?
From there, we could possibly use our divination spells, hopefully not abusing them, to see if, to give us further guidance if we needed.
Vern?
Did we lose Vern? I think I heard, Vern, did you
Yeah.
just shout out to Vern?
I was asking Vern for some input.
Yeah,
I've got a sack full of finger bones if somebody wants to use them to divine with.
Well, the other thing too. We did answer the question about the the vampire before last time too, but um that crystal ball, Vern's not the only one. I don't think it's limited to a wizard, is it? Is it anyone can use it? I'm not sure. Might have to double check that.
Yeah, I think there are multiple classes, but let me check.
if there's an intelligence modifier in its use, then we really want to get Vern doing it.
It's a wisdom's. You're casting a divination, which is a wisdom thing, right?
Yep. Scrying. Casting scrying. Scrying is a level 5 divination spell. Scrying, like there are no notes that say it can only be used by one class or another. Well, this is a little bit weird. As an arcane focus, that arcane focus can only be used by an arcane caster, a sorcerer, a warlock, or a wizard, right? Scrying, which is the additional spell that this crystal ball provides is
Can be just
it is
about
a
anyone.
level 5 divination spell that can be cast by most classes: bard, cleric, druid, warlock, wizard. All of them can cast scrying. I don't think there are
Or we
any.
can use the crystal ball and not have to waste the spell slots.
Yeah. Well, I think the question, Vern, was, and I was asking for your input on use of it, but there was a suggestion that you go ahead and start using it and trying to scry on whatever individuals you wanted to scry on. Without using any spells, they wanted to do this, but, in conjunction with the other studying that you were having to do. So.
I'm perfectly okay with that. I'm more than willing to devote an hour a day to scrying on each of them, just so the rest of the party is aware. It is possible for them to resist the scrying. It is even possible for them to notice that it's happening. So if and when we do find them, and I'm pretty sure that we will, be aware that they are going to know we're coming. Just so everybody's on the same page there.
They should know we're coming regardless.
Hey, here's a quick thing. I suppose we got any bits and pieces from those two guys that we chopped apart. I'm just looking at the scrying spell. There's negative modifiers if we have garments or other possessions, and even better negative modifiers if we have a body part such as blood.
Oops.
They certainly bled enough.
Sorry.
Heard you say sorry, Bart, but I didn't hear what you were saying sorry about.
Oops. Sorry.
But
I found a toe, but it was.
That there were no
snackable.
body parts left.
He ate the evidence. I think I'm going to have to uninstall and reinstall Fantasy Grounds because it's hanging up on me all over the place. Anyway, so we got what, week and a half. Either the clerics make the attempt or the wizard makes the attempt.
I want to know day to day because we could learn something from, on day one that could suddenly cause us to change our, approach.
I got to let the clerics handle it for the first week because I'm reading that book. Afterwards, I will devote an hour a day to both of them, hands down. Let's find these clowns.
Didn't we say it had to be an arcane caster?
No, it can
we,
be
we
anyone.
did not.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
I
Sorry.
said,
misunderstood.
even though, so in the DM's guide, it talks about the crystal ball being able to be an arcane focus, right? So for an arcane caster. However, the scrying spell is something that's used by most casting classes, clerics, druids, wizards, warlocks. So I am not restricting what what class can potentially use the crystal ball. So,
And just a quick question for the DM. Nearby towns, there's Nulb, which is the Den of Iniquity.
yeah, that's the closest town. Iniquity would really be an understatement.
Okay, and there's the nicer place, which also
Hamlet, yeah.
I want to go there. The Den of Iniquity place. Let's go there.
I'm sure you do. All right. So you've got Nulb, that's the closest. You've got Hamlet. There are multiple, other places farther off, but neither one of those places is very large. You have basically seen everything there was to see in the town of Hamlet originally, but I know we are many moons removed from that visit. So you're welcome to revisit it. But if you recall, what you guys told me is that you were taking the, you were taking the, what is Thrommel? I'm forgetting his title. But you were taking Thrommel to
The Elven Fling.
Burn and
Rufus, yes.
Yes, Burn and Rufus in Hamlet. Okay. And so, that's about a day and a half. Well, probably closer to a day, but let's say it's a day and a half, especially given that you were going by means of your, construction site.
Yes. And we were gonna retcon question. I mean, we'd be with him for a day and a half travel there. We'd be questioning the hell of anything he might know about the temple.
I can answer tell me everything you want to know about the temple. But it is extremely helpful if you are trying to, glean specific knowledge if you use specific questions. Okay. Going back to the scrying, the let me look here. So when and how are you going to set up for scrying? Who's okay?
Paul,
Who's going to
do you
do
want
it?
to do?
Week 1. Who's going to do it week 1?
Who's got the highest wisdom?
I think Paul.
It doesn't
I,
matter. When you're using a magic item like
I'm going
crystal
to
ball,
give it a shot.
Okay.
Yeah. What the hell?
Yep. When you're using a magic item like a crystal ball, the level of magic is the same. And so the saving throw is basically between the target and the magic item. Okay?
Gotcha.
Who do we want to look for first? Smelly paladin butt or vicious wizard?
Wizard.
Wizard, all right. I remember seeing that dastardly cad. Let's get him. By the powers of Shantae, I'm going to set up, a nice little campfire and put a lot of herbs around. Definitely got to have some sage in the air.
Oh,
Wait a minute. Week
Hang
1,
on.
I'm reading a book. You're not having me in the air.
Here,
Oh,
hold this pointy hat while you're doing this.
I walked into that one. And then I'm going to grasp my holy symbol while I focus all of my will upon this crystal ball and command it to show me the evil wizard guy.
I'm looking over your shoulder, so I have some idea how to do it next time.
Or how to not do it.
Okay. Hold on just a second. I'm making sure I've got the right saves for each of these. Yeah, there we go.
Hmm. And now Paul contemplates, is there any way to, I don't know, bane these guys? Something. I guess probably not.
You're
Well,
saying remotely?
Yeah, I'm really speculating out loud to the group.
well, if we have a garment or something that was theirs, the wizard guy, that gives him negatives on the save. And I would suggest that there is a pointy hat in our party sheet.
Oh, then yes, of course. I will I will hold this pointy hat prominently forth. Ooh,
Makes it easier to track him.
I heard you say you gave me a pointy hat, but I didn't connect the dots.
So your first attempt is at what time of day?
I'm an early riser, so we'll try 6 a.m.
Okay. Um, you are able to gaze through the orb and you see the wizard, the caster, um, still asleep on a bed, and the room is a fairly small room, relatively speaking, but it's also um, reasonably well laid out. Um, there are no windows in this room. There, the room is fairly well kept, like it's not messy. There is a desk. There are a number of bookshelves that do have a number of different books upon them. Um, and
Do I recognize any distinction in the architecture, such as all the walls are made of stone as well as the floor? Do I recognize any patterns that I might have seen in the dungeon that are recurring here that might make me think he's down in the dungeons again?
you know what? Give me a perception check.
Oh, perception check. Where is that? Oh, wait, here we go. In the tower, probably.
We'll guidance you.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. If you start mumbling about, about things you can see. Sorry, kitten. Combat tracker. Guidance. There you go.
Right. Hey, it won't let me grab it. Hey, try that again. What the heck? Oh, there we go. All right.
Okay. Things look like they could be in the dungeon, but you're not positive.
Hmm. Any chance that Sharona can see what I'm looking at?
No.
No.
Nope. It is you in connection with the with the orb.
Am I able to pan out or in or around?
You're able to see. Let me see how big it is. Uh, where did that go? got a fairly good radius. Let me see. I'm going to go with general agreement on whether or not a crystal ball can go through, can go through doors.
It does have true sight. I don't know if that makes any difference on anything.
No, not like I really don't think that this would. All right.
Boy, if only we had teleport right about now. Gank this boy while he's asleep.
You can't go through walls, so you can't go through closed doors.
We do have a wish spell.
So
Not a good use of it.
What do you mean, we, Paleface?
We could wish for the teleport spell.
Can I use it?
The wishing for a teleport scroll would do us no good at all.
I will study any of the items in the room to see if there's anything that looks like I've seen it before. I will look at any of the documents to see if there's any writing visible that I could study and learn from that.
Good idea.
So the writing that you're looking at, give me an Arcana check. I know that's not your thing, but give me an Arcana check.
One Arcana check coming up. Skills. Let's see here. Arcana's right there. Let's grab it.
So the writings that you do see are, basically just on the top pages of a couple of stacks of paper. On one of them, it's clearly legible in common. It's like a to-do list that's very mundane. It is, hey, we need to gather adequate components for all of the casters, and it doesn't even tell you like exactly how many casters are there, but based on the volumes that is scribbled next to a couple of them, this is certainly more than more than 3 or 4 casters might specifically need, but it is a to-do list that has a bunch of mundane tasks related to wizardry and casting.
So
It could be
I'm
a
just
school, it could be it could be this it could be a cult, it could be a lot of things.
I feel like this is evidence that he's still in the game and possibly still in the dungeon. I'll convey everything I'm seeing to the group so they can
Okay.
know if they want me to, do anything further.
Wait, let me finish, because there's a second stack and writing on top of that one.
Oh, right.
You know that you don't understand a single word of what you're looking at.
Wizard shorthand. Yeah. Okay. So there's wizard shorthand, and there's a to-do list that suggests that he's going to have a bunch of other wizards get ready with spell components to accomplish something. And is there any keys laying about for the door in the event that, as he locked himself in, for example, and again, I'm looking to see if I can recognize the key as something similar to ones we may have seen already.
As you inspect the door does have a locking mechanism, but that locking mechanism works from this side of the door.
Without a key?
Without a key on this side. That's all you know.
like a twisted deadbolt. Gotcha. Oh, uh, running out of ideas.
Well, at least we know that we need
He's
to look again.
Yeah, perhaps later on in the day.
Yeah, yeah.
Garner may set his offer a recommendation, or
Of
is he
course.
busy?
No, you can make recommendations. You're just not, able to focus on this.
I lift my face up from the book that I'm reading, say, take some of my parchment and ink, write down what you see.
I'll give it my best shot.
study him
I,
closely.
I will try to zoom in on these images of oddball language and write, duplicate what I am seeing.
Okay.
Does he write it in a way that any of us could possibly read it if we knew the language and he doesn't?
And he certainly writes something down. Each of you, in turn, take a look at it, and sans satis ka, none of you know or understand what the writing is.
Yeah, I don't read so good.
Brain
It
stuff.
just stopped after, yeah, I don't read, but it's okay.
Well, I guess that's I'm tapped out. I guess I'll let Trona take a look at all whenever it makes sense.
Are we trying every day?
Well, I thought we might just try later on today.
I will try at high noon.
Lunchtime.
Okay.
Surely gotta have his guard down while he's eating.
Got to be careful we don't do it too often. If he notices, he'll start taking precautions. But let's proceed.
Part of the reason I want you to write down what you're seeing in this room, not just on his lists, is because you don't have to scry on a person. You can scry on the room and see who is in it. That is not the same thing.
So let me qualify that too, because you can scry on a room or a location that you know where it is. You can't scry on a room or location that you don't know where it is. You can, however, continue to scry, right? But you need some sort of a reference point to pull that up. And I will allow you to attempt to scry on something that you know what it looks like, but you don't know where it is. But it's not going to be as like there's not always guaranteed success in doing so. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I'm trying to scry on the
Yeah.
caster.
The wizard. Yep.
Yeah, the wizard, not the room. Yeah.
Yep.
Because we
Agreed.
want to find
And
him someplace we can recognize.
right. So you do again at noon this day. So 6 hours later, you do find the wizard. The wizard is actually in a location again you do not recognize, but it is a room that has a let me see if I've actually got a picture that I can share with you. Hold on just a second.
He's in a room. It's got 4 walls, a ceiling, and a
Mhm.
floor. I tell everybody.
Yep. There is a pattern on the floor that does seem like a some sort of a arcane pattern there. And this arcane pattern looks like an 8-sided star on the floor. I do not have a picture that I can share with you right now. I mean, I gotta.
I will
draw an 8-sided
Uh,
star, but
yeah, I will draw what I'm seeing as the pattern on the floor. Any windows? I assume not.
No, there are no windows. There is a passageway that goes out of here. The room is fairly large. Hold on just a second.
Obviously, based on that 8-pointed star, he is near the seashore. We need to find a section of coastline that is bereft of cephalopods. Clearly, he is practicing octomancy.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. How are you?
Octomancy.
Yeah. All right.
That's another wizard joke.
Sharona laughs politely. I don't know that she got it, but she definitely laughs. She gets that you're trying to make a joke.
You might need some more intelligence there, Sedaska.
Okay, I'm 8th level. I'm only just beginning to learn human humor.
Right. So Sharona, in addition to, all right, so he's in the middle of this room that has the 8-sided star. The room itself seems to be kind of a squished or morphed version of the 8-sided star. It's not
Oh, okay.
truly an 8-sided star. The room is not. The pattern on the floor is. There is a tunnel passageway that goes out of the room to the south.
Do I recognize being very familiar with the floor tiles and stone patterns of the dungeon? Do I recognize the hallway as being in the dungeon?
You have definitely not seen this pattern before.
Dang it. Okay, I share that with the group while
There
I'm
is
drawing the star on the piece of
nothing
paper.
right now that you've seen to indicate one way or another whether the room itself is in the dungeon or no. There is a two-headed giant-like thing in the room.
Oh, could I take a closer look at that?
You absolutely can. Like when I say giant-like thing, I mean a monstrous being of some sort.
Gotcha.
So, like something we fought already, or which you recognize?
I
We
think
did
so.
fight it.
Did we fight an
We have fought an Etten, yes.
Then
Okay.
yes, it's like something that you've already fought.
I tell everybody there's an Etten in the room, which it, definitely feels dungeony to me. And who builds a house with no windows? I feel like this has to be in the dungeon. I just don't know where. That's Sharona's take on it.
I want you to roll a d20 for me in the open.
Oh yes.
And if you like, this is just randomness. If it's a 20,
Not a 20.
definitely not a 20. And a 19 is just as bad as a 2. So don't worry
Okay,
about
it was a
Just-
20 or bust.
Yeah. So there was a chance that you would see something going on right then. So, but there's nothing else that you specifically see. The mage seems to be waiting on something. Every now and then, he barks at the, not like barks like a dog, but barks like a, what are you doing? Did you hear anything? Type of thing to the Etten. But that's all you see at this time. You know what? I'm going to give you 2 more chances.
Okay.
Well, I'm assuming that you're scrying for. We started talking about it for an hour, right?
Yeah, that's what I
and
was
so
going to say.
okay,
How long
all right.
can I scry? I will scry the
Yeah.
whole time. Yeah.
Okay, so you know what? And don't know that there's a specific limit on the crystal ball itself.
I think the scrying spell said 10 minutes.
Yeah, the scrying spell is a max of 10 minutes. That is a true statement. Hold on just a second. Let me look at this. Yep.
Sharon is a very patient little halfling. She knows how to meditate. She can sit here for a very long time.
Okay. I'm going to give you two other chances, and this isn't related to the scrying duration. This is related to the fact that you keep using the crystal ball to scry on him, across this hour-long period. So roll the d20 twice more for me, please.
Okay. Get an 8.
Nope.
Come on, 20. 13.
Nope. All right. So you do not see anything else, and he is still standing there, waiting on something, barking orders.
Okay. Guy, can I hear what orders he's
Yes.
barking?
Yeah, you absolutely can. And I had said it already that they're fairly common things. He's asking, like, did you hear anything? What? It's just like he's expecting something to happen, and he's both asking the Etten if he's noticed anything related to whatever he's expecting, and then also occasionally he sends the Etten to patrol the hallway. Like,
Okay.
the Etten goes into the hallway and then comes out eventually.
I will share all of this with the guys. You guys are getting like a live play-by-play. Like, and he took a deep breath. He sighed. Scratched his head.
Awesome.
Werner, I've got 60 sheets of parchment. How many of them would you like me to write off here? Half, three quarters, all?
I'm sorry, for notes that she's taking or what?
Notes that are being taken on not just scrying on this guy, but hopefully scrying on both of these clowns.
I don't think it's an issue right now. You've gone by your by your building site, and you're headed to Hamlet. I'm not going to worry about how many parchment pieces it's going to take. Anything else you want to try to do while he seems to be standing here waiting on something?
Well,
Any suggestions?
the sensor's stuck to him, so or you could just start scrying on the Etten in the future and avoid warning the wizard that we're watching him.
Oh yeah.
Etten's a lot stupider.
I mean, is there anything distinctive about the Etten that I could, glom onto and describe to others so they might also find the Etten?
That's a very good question. No, you have to have seen it in order for you to be able to scribe on it. And the others are not able to see it. They could
Okay.
try it, but it would certainly be at a much greater level of difficulty.
Gotcha.
But hey, scry on the Etten, and when he goes for a patrol wanderabouts, you get to see what the area's like.
Does
Yeah,
he
well,
mention a name for the Etten at all?
Nope, no name is given for the Etten.
okay. Then I will. I will wait for the whole hour just in case anything amazing happens.
You've rolled. You didn't. Yeah,
Okay.
nothing. The event that you might have seen, or events that you might have seen, did not occur during this time.
Okay. Then when the scry is over, I'll go, okay, when do we want to try again? And we can try on the Etten. but I will leave these decisions to smarter people amongst us.
Ooh, the
Those
challenge
that
is
do not
you're
use
the
int as
only
a dump stat.
Sharon, I think you're the only one that's actually seen the Etna.
Right. I'd have to be the scryer if
Yeah.
we went after the end. Yes, yeah.
Okay, guys, you have a party of people. Is this right? Hold on. Okay, I haven't been doing the crystal ball right. Let me look at this.
Sorry, I'll be back in a minute. I got to restart my computer.
Okay.
How many times a day can we scry with a crystal ball?
Hold on. I'm looking. It looks like
made
it's
the
unlimited.
Yeah, I've made the description public. They're not including a limit on
Yep.
times per day.
So I'm going to put a limit on it, though. And I'm going to put that limit for everybody to be the bonus. And you could do it for this many hours, okay? But it's the bonus on your main stat. All right. So it could be stamina for a fighter. It could be wisdom for you, Sharona. It could be like you're not going to run
Gotcha.
out
I
because
could
you
do
got
it
enough
5
people.
times.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you're
Okay.
not going to run out. I'm not trying to limit you. I'm just trying to like I'm using something that I know is it makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Then I'm assuming the group is encouraging me to follow the Etten.
And they
Um
did. They did.
I would go
do
so far as to say you should be on Etten duty.
so do scries follow the person? Like if I were scrying on the Etten and it left the
Yes.
room, would scry leave
Yes.
the room?
It absolutely would.
Then I will count 10 after the scry stops,
Okay.
and I will light up the scry again and scry on the Etten.
Okay. So when you are scrying on the Etten, he does eventually get ordered to make another circuit. Go on patrol here. He goes to the south, and then about 40 feet south of the room, the passage turns to the left, and he follows that passage to the left. After following the passage to the left, he and by the way, this is really an interesting experience for you because you know that you have an ability that lets you, see a long way. Um, you know that you're only able to see a little bit more than 100 feet. Okay,
Okay.
And at 100 feet away from whatever it is you're scrying, it just fades to black. Okay.
Gotcha.
Yep. So as he starts down this passageway, the passageway is much longer than the distance of your scrying, but he does come to the end of the passageway. And when he comes to the end of the passageway, let's see, in front of you, directly in front of you, there is a wall. But that wall, okay, it opens out into another room.
Secret door. This is
No.
definitely the dungeon, guys.
No secret door. All right.
No secret door. Dang it.
50 feet in front of where it opens up, there is a wall. to the left, that wall, then there's another connecting wall that comes in at an angle. And basically, it ends up in a tunnel that goes off kind of at this is to the left, but angling away, like angling back the way you came, but away from you, more away to the left as you look out into this new room. Okay.
Okay.
But to the right, there is the room gets much bigger. You can not see all the way across the room. There is a dais in the middle of the room, and there are. I need to hold on just a second. All right, it's a massive. I'm using some additional tools to describe this. It's a massive chamber. The ceiling is, you can see it, but it vaults at a great height overhead. The walls are fairly smooth. They're not stone here. Again, you haven't seen this before. By the way, the walls were also smooth back from where you came from, but they were reddish and orangish in color. Okay.
Okay.
High on the walls in the room are flying buttresses. Okay. Give
Okay.
me a perception check, please.
You can do that.
I think he's gone down. I think he's in a lower level.
Okay. On top of the flying buttresses, there are gargoyles. I'm not saying creatures, I'm saying gargoyles scowling down at everybody in the room. They don't seem to be moving. Again, broad steps leading up to an altar. And on the altar is, I'm sorry, a dais. And on the dais is an altar. The altar has basically a red covering, a red cloth covering over the entire altar. There are multiple large guards around the room. Those guards are primarily trolls.
Okay.
Okay.
Does the cloth look like cloth we've seen in the dungeon? Like
Nope.
the color
Doesn't
red, the
look
type
like,
of cloth? Okay.
it does not look like anything you've already seen in the dungeon.
So I'm giving the guys a play-by-play.
Yep.
It's like I'm live streaming this. I'm telling you every detail, so you guys know everything.
I need another perception check.
Okay. Can I guidance myself again?
Sure.
Excellent.
You're taking your time to look at this, okay? And so
So yeah, when I squint, I know I'm trying to look, so I
Mhm.
guide myself to get a good,
Okay.
better look.
All right, good. So you're looking around to see what else might be of interest in the room. Okay, that's why I'm asking you to to do this.
I am curious about one thing though.
Yeah.
I think Fantasy Grounds is wrong. I have a +8 on my perception, and it's giving me a +7 on these rolls for some reason. Now they're high rolls, so it wouldn't make that much difference in
Yeah.
this scenario, but I'm just noting that because I
Okay.
was like, huh, that's weird.
All right. We'll look at it.
Yeah, we'll look at it later. No worries.
So from the direction that you are looking here, the dais basically has steps that come towards you, steps that go off to the right down from it, and steps that go away from you down to the rest of the room away from you as well. Okay.
Okay. But I'm just kind of stuck going where the Etten goes. I can't follow my urges.
Yep. And correct. And as soon as kind of you hit the bottom of the stairs, that and you know that the range that you can see is 120 feet. Okay.
Okay.
That's the range that you could scry from the Etten that you're there. And basically, as soon as you get to the bottom of the stairs going away from you, coming down from the dais, and it's all the same level floor in the room, then you can no longer see. So you know that dais, the far side of that dais, is probably about 110 feet from where you are right now. Okay.
Okay.
All
I'm
right.
telling all the guys that I'm giving them my guesses on distances.
Yep. Flanking the dais with the altar, there are two huge pillars that they are adorned with gold leaf, and reach all the way up to the ceiling. You can see, all the way to the ceiling.
Okay.
So to the left of the altar is a purple curtain.
Think really, really hard, like I can influence the Etten, and think, go to the curtain, go behind the curtain.
The Etten doesn't seem to be going any further into the room. Okay.
My little face crunches up, my fists go back and forth. I'm trying really hard. Trying really hard to scry right, guys. I'm trying hard to scry right.
Try as you may, the Etten turns around and comes back to the room.
The problem, Sharona, is that you did not straighten up and scry right.
I will try that next time. She takes you very seriously and sits like perfectly upright.
And the rest of the party is treated to the unusual circumstance of a lizard man laughing while he reads a book.
It's a really weird sound. You don't realize that he's laughing at first, and then you're like, oh, that's what it sounds like.
Okay, well, I will stay with the Etten as long as I can, even if it's just going back to the room.
Yep.
I will.
And he
I will
comes
stay
back
with him
down
for
the
the
long
full hour.
hallway, turns to the right, and then goes into the room again.
Okay.
The wizard barks out at him, anything? And he shakes both heads.
Did I get a sense from watching the wizard for an hour and the Etten for an hour how often the wizard is sending the Etten out?
Yes. So he's probably sending him out about, well, no, not about. I mean, it really is like about every half hour.
About every
Okay.
half an hour. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And give me a d20 roll.
Okie dokie.
He's waiting on his Uber Eats.
Nope.
Changing my dice again. Dice have failed me.
Yep.
It must be changed.
Now what?
So my scry's over.
Yeah, the Etten does this, like a total of 3 times. Like, and I'm assuming that you get him like right at the beginning, top of the hour, middle of the hour, bottom of the hour, and then top of the hour again. You
Gotcha.
watch him for all 3 instances, and he basically does the exact same thing.
I think my only question, you mentioned flying buttresses.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've come across rooms in the dungeon that had tall ceilings and flying buttresses. Does that
You really
the
haven't seen
buttresses?
flying buttresses since you were in the ruined temple up top.
Oh, okay, it's just the temple up top. Okay.
Yep. And give me a perception check.
Okay. I'm just going to do perception. I'm not going to guidance myself because this feels like an insighty sort of thing.
Okay. There seems to be some similarities, but they are not the same.
Okay. I share that thought with the guys.
Okay, what did we want to like try another approach and retcon the questioning of that elven dude while we were escorting him? And when we get him back
He's
to
not
his
elven. Yeah,
I thought it was,
Thrommel is not an elf. There was an elf that you freed, but this guy's not an elf.
I thought there was like an elven prince or something.
That was a female that was in the dungeons, and she went out at a different time.
So what was Thrommel prince of again?
Yeah, Tim says he's pretty like an elf. So, what were you asking?
The elven princess was not much help.
Nope, she was not.
Okay, so what was this guy? What's this guy a prince of or whatever?
So, yeah, his name is Thrommel, and he's from Furindy, and he's the head of a group of knights there in Furindy. So, he was present at the Battle of Imrity Meadows that I've mentioned to you before, which was the fight a number of years ago. And he has no idea how long he's been out, so he has no idea exactly how long ago it was. But the fight a number of years ago that originally was against the um, the denizens that came out of the Temple of Elemental Evil, and it was a significant win for the people of Furindy and of Greghawk, and shortly thereafter they bound the they bound all the doors on the temple as well. So what you can learn from him is probably some of the more important pieces, though, about binding the doors. And so there was, great evil that was there, including a demoness. And he tells you of the demoness, um, and her name was Zuckmoy. But this demoness was bound by many, many clerical, not curses. What's the but clerical holding spells, and
Bindings.
yeah, bindings. There you go. That's a good one. Good word for it. But many clerical bindings that basically, work together to reduce her power and limit her mobility. They could not permanently vanquish her. That wasn't
Hang on,
something that they were able to do.
but that big battle was like hundreds of years ago when the temple was at its prime, right?
Nope,
For
it was not hundreds of years ago, but
oh, okay. I thought this was like an ancient ruin sort of temple.
nope, it is not. So the reason why you know that it's not is because you also know that that Rufus and Byrne fought in that battle. Okay? So your character knows that the two of them fought in that battle, and they take pride in telling you that they fought in that battle.
Wait, who's Rufus and Byrne again?
Anybody remember?
The mage and his warrior buddy in Hamlet.
That's correct.
Basically, the Lord and the Mage of Hamlet.
That's right. The guys who are building the tower in Hamlet.
Gotcha. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, we're escorting this guy back. While he was a prisoner to them, did the bad guys let him know or let slip any details of their plans? What their timeline was like? Oh, and by the way, you wouldn't happen to have a portable hole back at your headquarters, would you?
So he says he doesn't have one. He might be able to lay his hands on one, but those things are expensive even for him.
Yeah, I think we can afford it.
So, it's not something that he could get to you immediately, but it is something that potentially he could help out with.
Don't we have a bag of holding?
You do?
Yeah, but
Why
it
should
wouldn't,
we have a portable hole instead of the bag of holding?
because I want to take that mirror so that we can imprison God.
Oh, and it won't fit in the bag of holding. Gotcha. Okay.
Exactly. And it's not
Okay.
that, by the way, bags of holding are limited by their physical size. So maybe a bag of holding can have its mouth opened up to, maybe 12 inches across. But a portable hole actually unfolds.
And is it fair to say a portable hole is an interdimensional space that they taught us about in our priesthood?
Hey, why don't you give me an Arcana check?
Interesting. Let's see if I know this.
You know how we fix this whole problem? We run down as far as we can into the dungeon. We throw out this portable hole where we know it is. We leave a familiar with the bag of holding near the portable hole. We tell them to wait an hour and then dive into the portable hole. Problem solved.
Well, help me out here. Why would we do
I
that?
don't know that any of you would know that and know that that's the way that it works, except maybe Setiska.
That would blow up the whole dungeon and
That's-
problem solved, right?
That's like Dr. Evil saying, "No, I'm just going to set up this ridiculously complicated plot and then walk away and assume that everything goes according to plan."
So what you're saying is if you put one interdimensional device inside of another, that's a problem?
Hey, you don't know that, all right?
Okay.
It's just Sarah
Especially
being
given your
stupid. That wasn't
given your role
Sharona.
about given your role just now, you definitely don't know that.
I don't know any of this stuff. Okay.
Yeah, Setis probably knows it and doesn't need to roll. Is that fair?
Sharona definitely
No,
does not know this.
Setiska would have to roll too. So Setiska
Mr.
does
Mark.
not know. Setiska, that was athletics. Please, come on.
Yeah, I said I misclicked. Sorry about that.
He was just getting warmed up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Setiska. Setiska, you know that portable holes and bags of holding have some similarities to them. Like off the top of your head, you're not going to know the details of lighting a fuse and throwing it into the dungeon.
Is it okay for me to pose questions to Setiscott now?
Yes, yeah, it's okay to pose questions to Setiska.
No. So Setiscott, these two items have this similar magic, and what you're telling me is combining them into one is dangerous?
I do
Doesn't
not
it-
know the specifics.
So,
What
so
I am
you know
telling
that
you
it's
is that it is
Yeah,
bad.
that's right. That's exactly right. You know that it's bad.
it makes a bigger, better hole.
Help me out here, said Scott. Doesn't the mirror have similar properties?
No, different thing altogether.
Is Scott sure of that? Or is Vern sure of that? I would hate to put that mirror in there and find it out.
That that'd be a good
Scott,
question for. Oh,
Setiskai, you're not sure. He has made you question whether or not it would be a good idea at this point to
that
stick a
would be a
mirror in there.
good question to ask an augury spell and get a definite answer.
That requires research.
Yeah, that would be quite the unexpected result if it went the wrong way.
Well, it seems like a good idea at the time.
Hey, you, carry this mirror into that suspiciously round cave. The rest of you, pay no attention to the explosion behind the curtain.
Yeah. Um, I suppose we could cast an augury spell, but I feel like we have to have these things for it to make sense.
Yeah. So back to escorting the guy back to his fortress, temple, whatever,
Yeah.
and seeing whether or not we can purchase a portable hole just in case.
Okay, so you're going to go all the way back to Furindy?
Well, I thought we were. It was what, a day's travel.
Yeah, you're going to Hamlet. That's not where this guy is from. You were going to Hamlet to hand him off to Byrne and Rufus. And he was fine with that. He remembers Byrne and Rufus. And so vaguely, by the way, he doesn't it's not like they were best buds.
But back to the question of did while he was a prisoner, did he listen in on their plans?
So
and
yeah,
figure-
but he was in this stasis form, right? He was not held prisoner, for a long period of time and long enough to see what was going on around him much or anything like that. He was certainly poorly used by the by the
that's right.
denizens.
He was the vampire, right?
Yes, that's correct. He looked like a vampire, but he wasn't really a vampire. So any other questions, specific questions for him? Like, he's definitely willing to answer them. He just doesn't know exactly what else to tell you right now. Did I lose you guys?
How did they catch him?
No, we're just struggling for good questions.
Okay. It's all right. So he was actually captured when he was in a patrol out riding after they had sealed the the temple. This occurrence was months after the temple had been sealed.
All right, so he's limited source of information.
Well, wait a minute. So I do also, and he, therefore does also detect a line of your questioning. He was captured by a mixed group of uh, you know, denizens, baddies, that definitely included humans and trolls and ogres and probably multiple other things that he didn't see. But definitely there were casters there who were able to disable his entire party. Most were slain, and he doesn't know if anybody other than, he made it out alive.
Do you have any idea how they disabled your casters?
They disabled the casters in his group, and there were multiple casters in his group, but they were actually slain. Like his casters,
Disabled, like killed your casters, not
right?
disabled, like shut down their magic. Gotcha.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
You got it. I wasn't trying to be obtuse there.
No, I was overreading into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, no real answers from him. He doesn't know where his attackers came from, presumably the temple or whatever they.
Well, no, he did. Well, he knows that he was taken back into the temple.
Yeah.
So, and it was in that temple that he was permanently, put in stasis.
Entombed, whatever.
Yes. And I assume that you tell him, of the room that he was in. He doesn't remember being brought to that room. He wants to know what you guys are doing in the temple.
Being stupid.
Stealing from them?
Well, Billy Bob's like searching for my cousin. They had a tangle with nasty fungus lady, and now we got to go smack her down to get him back, assuming he's still alive.
He says you've actually seen this woman of fungus?
Yes.
Twice.
Well, if you call seeing running away from her in abject terror, yeah.
That's not what we
Right.
did the first time that got your cousin killed, though.
He asks you to describe her. I assume you do. And he thinks that was Zuckmoy. He says, he tells you that it took, an army of individuals, casters and otherwise, to stand against her and Euse previously.
Well, someone let her out, but then they locked her back up again, apparently, for however long that lasts. But she's still up for a good stomping because, you don't fuck with the Jimbos.
Apparently, I'm going to have to grill him on who this ooze person is that he just mentioned.
Funguses is, I don't care what you got between your toes, boy. It's all stomping time.
Okay. I'm not sure you know much about her. You are welcome to make a religion check.
No. He just mentioned Zugmoy and Ayuz.
That's correct.
Fediska is mispronouncing that and asking him to explain more about this ooze person.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, but funguses are.
He's not germane to the task at hand, so we can hand wave that, but this gives me a little bit of information on who or what IUs might happen to be.
Right. So between your clerics and him, you guys are able to piece together that Use is a deity. Either a a lightweight deity or maybe more like a demigod. But Use is certainly, if not all powerful, semi powerful, and many who are of ill repute worship Use.
And is this ooze still connected to the mushroom in the dungeon?
He says that after they defeated the original residents of the temple, that he was never seen again, as far as he knows.
Well, fungus lady, ooze person, nah.
He
I think you
also,
broke up. Oh,
yeah, I stopped talking when um I think it was Rich was talking as well.
yeah, I missed what Rich said.
Okay, go ahead, Rich. Say it again.
Oh no, I was just thinking, fungus lady, ooze person, they all deserve good kicking.
Okay.
So uh, the story is that Hughes ascended to, like, he was maybe human previously, and he ascended to his status as demigod. But he also tells you that basically Hughes and Saint Cuthbert, and you would know that Saint Cuthbert is the deity of the clerics who were in Hamlet. You guys went there to the Church of St. Cuthbert to buy your potions originally. But that they um, are, you know, nemesis of each other.
Well, another ultra powerful bad guy we got to keep an eye out for, and if necessary, run away from. Um, so I guess we've gotten all the information we can from this guy. He really doesn't have much to shed on what's going on. Circle back to the plan of, well, if the wizard is somewhere in the temple complex.
All right, wait a minute. He's going to push on you and ask again what it is that you're doing in the temple.
He's taking names and shit.
We are killing them. Why do you ask?
Because even an army of good was unable to stop them previously. It is obviously possible that you could, potentially disable certain, things so that you could, when he talks about that, he's really talking about breaking the chains and removing the lead from the doors and other things like that, that you could, potentially break all of those both magical and physical bonds But then what are you going to do? You're just going to let evil out into the world again.
We aren't unsealing the doors. We're killing the occupants. And there is a way to destroy them. We have found it, in fact, in one of Paul's dreams.
I think technically it was
Uriel's.
Uriel's dream, but yes.
Yeah. So we tell him about that, the palm.
All right. Make a persuasion check. And are all of you trying to convince him that the dream told you to do it?
I certainly have my best persuasive face on.
Besides, we're on a mission from God.
I'm
We've got,
nodding.
We
we,
are now, boy.
we've got to destroy this evil skull thing.
Evil skull thing. What evil skull thing?
Yeah, I didn't know if we were going to bring that up, but okay. I guess
Yep.
the skull's out of the bag now.
What evil skull thing? What are you talking about?
I guess we'll show him.
Which might comply with the gold orb portion of the poem.
The gods have ordered this thing be destroyed.
And they have shown us the path on how to do so.
Okay. When you. All right.
I see you are processing. Take a moment, sir.
Well, what I want to know is how you're going about showing him the orb. Like, be explicit.
With a minor illusion. I don't really want to take it out of the M-dimensional storage space in which it is currently residing.
Good
What
idea.
does, what does
Smart lizard
M-dimensional
guy.
mean? What does M-dimensional mean?
Set of scars. Higher language now. He's so intelligent.
I'm a wizard. It's technical.
He's just techno battling us.
No
He's Star
doubt.
Trek.
Okay. Thrommel has never seen what you're talking about. He is a little bit. He is not a little bit. He is highly skeptical that this thing can. Well, he's highly skeptical about your story. The fact that this thing can, it both needs to be destroyed by your gods, so you say, and then also that this thing can. What can this do? It can help you destroy all of their denizens. It can. He doesn't understand.
Now he's being a heretic, if you ask me. We should burn him.
It is the key that they created, presumably to help this Zugtmoy ascend as well. We destroy the key, we destroy her shot at doing what this ooze did.
All right. Well, with your 2 persuasion, he's definitely not persuaded.
That's because with my dismal roll, I probably include something along the lines of, bitch, we don't care if you believe it, it's what we're doing.
And he doesn't pat you on the head, but the way that he says that's nice sounds like he's patting you on the head when he says that's nice.
You know, if this guy wants to go back to where we found him, I'd be more than happy to escort him to his tomb.
Art, does this sound like a greenest thing going south?
Can I eat him now?
In the timeless tradition of nobles everywhere, he is going to misunderstand this statement. I look him directly in the eyes and say, I am not going to eat you.
I might.
Sharona understands that and
Wait.
goes, "Ooh,
Wait.
burn."
Let me need to see if they actually gave me a stat block for Thrommel. Let me check that out. I doubt
This
it.
is
Howdy,
the
Rommel.
this is the thing. All right, no more rescuing, no more nice guy, no more rescuing people, as well as no more taking prisoners.
Ooh, they did give me a stat block. All right. So the first thing I'm going to roll is an insight check.
Are these people idiots?
Does he understand what? Oh yes, he definitely does understand what what Status Ka is implying. Okay, Status Ka. I gave myself a 15, a DC 15, and I got a 17. So, all right. His response is actually very, like, he is a very good politician, noble, whatever. He is trying to calm you down, and despite the fact that he doesn't believe you, he certainly respects that you have done him a solid. Again, he is trying to persuade you. Setis Ka, give me a wisdom save or wisdom check.
Does this mean I'm
It's
gonna
just
get to eat him?
okay. Setis Ka, you are like he calms you down. Like you're okay. You're good. Um, the rest of you are welcome to roll against his 17 as well if you don't want to be calmed down.
Calm guy in general.
Wisdom save, wisdom save.
Hey, Tim, you want me? Oh, you're in game. I was going to say, do you want me to roll for you? But
There's my saves.
yep.
He's so dreamy.
Actually, what I said was a wisdom check, not a wisdom save. But all of
No,
you
a
are
wisdom
rolling wisdom
check.
saves. The reason
Yes, we're all
is that
rolling
that's
wisdom
very different.
saves.
Like I only did a check on my part for charisma. I didn't cast a
Got
spell with my bonus. I wonder what my bonus is. Hold on just a second. If I add in my proficiency bonus, I get a 21, by the way. So, all right. So,
I don't know why I rolled so many times. That wasn't my intent.
I mean, wisdom save and wisdom check's the same multiplier anyway.
no,
So
you get with the
No, it's
save,
not.
you get the proficiency bonus. If wisdom is your proficient, which is why Sharona does so well on wisdom saves, right?
Yeah, yeah. And you can also get extra. Um, you can be
Oh,
proficient
and this
and
is
expert at it, and all
just
sorts of other things.
for the
Yeah.
record. The stat block explicitly, so I only took a +2. I rolled a 15 and I got a 17. The stat block explicitly says that he has a +6 on persuasion. So, anyway.
I
We
guess
probably feel persuaded. We're a little jumpy, but it's not like we really want to fight this guy. So
If I
uh,
wanted to fight him, I would be using a spell called Ivard's Spiked Tentacles of Forced Intrusion. He would not appreciate it.
convinced that he's not totally a vampire.
So, one of the things that he also wants to convince you of is that while he really appreciates everything that you're doing, he is also convincing you that he is a pretty powerful person himself. And
as we're
we should be on the same side, not at odds.
As we are pondering these wise words, might it be a good time for a human break
It
as we think
absolutely is.
over
Yep.
whether we're on his side or not?
It absolutely is a good time for that. All right. Let's all take a 10-minute break. Be back at 9:45 Eastern.
Perfect.